You know that thing you do every single morning? Millions of people around the globe commit to this automatic ritual. And honestly, you probably don't even think about it anymore. You walk into a shop, you hand over your hard-earned cash, and in return, you get a cup of hot water infused with a highly addictive, completely legal psychoactive stimulant. We're talking about caffeine, of course. But if you take a closer look at the two absolute titans dominating this multi-billion-pound landscape, you're going to uncover what is arguably one of the greatest corporate illusions of modern capitalism. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to break down the sheer brilliance behind the illusion of the Great Coffee War and reveal exactly how strategic segmentation creates hidden market monopolies. Okay, let's dive right into this by asking what seems like a pretty obvious question. Do Starbucks and Dunkin' actually compete with one another? I mean, most business commentators out there will tell you that these two are locked in this deadly, zero-sum bloodbath for market share. But here's the thing. They're wrong. Completely wrong. Despite the fact that they are literally selling the exact same chemical, they operate in totally different, non-competing realities. If you look at them, their customers look like they belong to entirely different civilizations. They don't steal each other's customers because they have pulled off an absolute masterstroke of psychological warfare. And this brilliantly illustrates the core concept of our explainer today, market segmentation. It's this mechanism that allows two massive giants to coexist in perfect harmony. See, by dividing the broad coffee-drinking market into entirely distinct psychological and demographic subgroups, these brands aren't actually fighting over the same pie. Instead, they're carving out highly specific human identities, which effectively builds unshakable monopolies over different types of consumers. So let's explore exactly how they engineered your morning routine to make absolutely sure they both win. Section 1. Starbucks and the Premium Monopoly. To really understand how Starbucks became this $100 billion behemoth, you have to realize one crucial thing. They never actually set out to sell coffee. No, they set out to sell status. Back in the 1970s and 80s, coffee was basically instant muck or, stale diner swill. But then, Howard Schultz brought an idea back from Italy, weaponizing this brilliant sociological framework known as the third place. According to this framework, human existence is basically divided into three spheres. Your first place? That's your home. Your second place is your workplace. And your third place? That is the sanctuary in between. Starbucks intentionally designed their cafes to be exactly that sanctuary. They made them slow, quiet, and really welcoming. They added velvet chairs, warm, low-temperature lighting, and free, high-speed Wi-Fi. They essentially told the consumer, hey, come inside, stay for 3 hours, take a breath, and we're not going to kick you out. But you might be wondering, how do they actually pay for that incredibly expensive real estate when people are just sitting around for free? Well, it's simple, really. They invented mass market premiumization. They totally rewrote consumer psychology. By replacing your standard small, medium, and large sizes with a completely new vocabulary, tall, grande, venti, they essentially detached you from standard pricing expectations. By forcing you to use foreign words, you were no longer buying just an overpriced coffee. You were purchasing an affordable luxury experience built all around complex seasonal Arabica beans. They somehow convince people that spending £6 on a liquid dessert actually makes them sophisticated. It's genius. Section 2. Dunkin' and blue-collar utility. Okay, now I want you to clear your mind of the jazz music and those velvet armchairs. While Starbucks wants you to feel like a corporate executive on a European holiday, Dunkin' took one look at the landscape and embraced the exact opposite aesthetic. Where Starbucks gives you velvet and lo-fi jazz, Dunkin' gives you hard plastic booths and clinical fluorescent lights. And why would they do that? Because Dunkin' treats lingering as a design flaw. Their floors are hard tile, their drive-thrus are hyper-optimized. They absolutely do not want you to write your next screenplay in their shop. They want you in, out, and back on the motorway in under 90 seconds. It is a business model built entirely on velocity. And this business model is perfectly captured in their legendary slogan, America runs on Dunkin'. Notice that verb there, runs. It implies movement, hustle, sweat, and hard work. They aren't trying to sell you a sensory journey or a complex flavor profile. They are providing essential fuel for the working class. I mean, if you walk into a Dunkin' and ask for a half-calf oat milk flat white, they are going to look at you like you're speaking ancient Aramaic. Dunkin's blend is optimized for consistency, sweetness, and a high-speed caffeine hit to just punch you awake for the morning grind. Section 3. The Financial Architecture. Now, these massive psychological differences actually dictate completely different corporate structures. If we look at the 2026 data, the economic divide is literally night and day. Starbucks has roughly 13,500 US locations, compared to Dunkin's nearly 9,700. The average ticket value at Starbucks? £7.10, while Dunkin' sits at a flat £5. But the true brilliance, the real secret sauce, lies in their corporate DNA. Starbucks owns and operates 50% of its global stores directly. They absorb these massive overhead costs just to maintain absolute, microscopic control over that premium customer experience. Dunkin', on the flip side, is an asset-light franchising machine. They are 100% fully franchised. They don't actually want to run coffee shops. They just sell the rights to independent owners, taking a reliable, lower-risk slice of the royalties. And to put that into perspective, look at this number, £1.46 million. That's Starbucks' average annual revenue per store. It completely dwarfs Dunkin's $850,000. By establishing a monopoly over premium status and ruthlessly controlling the experience, Starbucks commands a massive revenue premium. It just goes to show that selling an identity is wildly, wildly profitable. Section 4, translating to the UK and the structural wall. But what happens when these deeply American segmentation rules are exported? Well, when American brands hit the British high street, the rules of engagement change entirely. In the US, Dunkin' totally owns the morning utility space. But in the UK, they hit a massive structural wall. Why? Because that space is already ruthlessly monopolized by Greggs. Let's be real. The British working class doesn't wake up at 6 a.m. craving an iced caramel swirl and a glazed donut. They want a flat white and a bacon bob from Greggs. Because Greggs already owned that cheap morning utility identity, Dunkin' was forced to execute a massive pivot. To even survive, they had to completely re-engineer their corporate soul, dropping the morning commute focus and launching primarily as a colorful, sweet treat afternoon destination just to compete with brands like Krispy Kreme. Starbucks had to navigate that exact same ocean. The UK already had a deeply established cafe culture, completely dominated by massive homegrown chains like Costa Coffee and Caffè Nero. Starbucks couldn't just slide in unnoticed. So what did they do? They doubled down. They leaned even heavier into their premium aspirational third-place status. They positioned themselves as the ultimate trendy, status-driven choice for university students and remote workers camping out with their laptops. They survived by ensuring their segment was totally unmistakable. Section 5. The Segmentation Golden Rule. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? It boils down to this ultimate truth of modern business strategy. If you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to anyone. Starbucks looked at the market and chose to own the experience, the status, and the slow, lingering afternoon. Dunkin' looked at the exact same market and chose to own the speed, the value, and the morning grind. They intentionally split the human psyche directly in half to ensure they both secured unshakable market monopolies. Which brings us to the most important question of this entire explainer. The very next time you step onto a cafe's hardwood floor or you pull your car into a brightly lit drive-thru, just take a second to look around. Look at the lighting. Listen to the music playing in the background. Check your receipt. You aren't just buying coffee anymore. You are actively being segmented. So I'll leave you with this. Which corporate tribe do you belong to for your next 30 minutes? And more importantly, did you choose them or did they choose you?